Six Nights to Die is a horror experience that left me really confused. It's billed as a first-person horror walking sim with bartending elements, which actually had me somewhat excited, as well as the stellar game cover picture, in my opinion. For your need to knows, Six Nights to Die is coming from Vania Studios, and it just came out on February 1st, 2024, and for $5.99 US dollars, you're going to get about an hour to 2 hours of playtime, and from my experience, that was about 90 minutes, so an hour and a half. And ultimately, I want to not mince words here, I don't really recommend the game. But I wanted to take a moment to actually say that I think it has a really cool early concept. I just thought it wasn't executed the best or the way that it probably should have been for what it needed to be. Visually speaking, the game is fairly basic, with somewhat well-detailed environments with the apartment, the streets, and the bar itself. However, it's what populates it that gets a little more rough. The character models are kind of iffy, and if it weren't for the very floaty animations and clipping, I'd almost believe that it was kind of a stylized choice. On top of that, I wasn't really a big fan of the visual effects that are used in the game, either from any of the usual scares, and just straight up for the most part with the lighting, I don't think it was poppy enough, and it made a lot of those sequences that are supposed to be scary too dark. Now, that said, I had one good scare that got me actually pretty well. And believe it or not, while I found the story basic, I did love the premise. The ability to take people's orders all while being seemingly haunted is really cool. I just wish that there was a bit more charisma coming through these character dialogues to make it more entertaining, and maybe even like a timer to earn a tip, just some kind of little side objective as well. Something to change up the monotony, if you will. But with talking in mind, that brings me to my biggest criticism that I have: poor translation. Grammar and sentence structure in the game is a bit off most of the time, which is really hard to sell when there's just no voice acting otherwise, which to me is never a problem in games. But when you have to read only, and that's your only source of anything, and with characters already seeming kind of bland, it doesn't help when they're talking in a way that's just not natural. And not to mention, there's just some weird button prompts on the screen as well. For instance, to clean, you need to hold E. But in this game, it's actually you need to keep E. But for me, I just push P, you know what I'm saying? Another issue I had was the sound quality, and it goes from actually pretty okay to seemingly very poor. There's decent music choices for the bar that's pretty catchy and adds a lot of atmosphere that feels like it fits. And even some of the sound effects of like that demonic presence sounds really cool and does the job. However, there's instances, once again with cleaning, the mopping, where the sound actually sounds like it has mic bleeding through the recording, which is, or like white noise in the background, which is baffling. At the end of the day, I don't recommend the game as it's promised, a horror game. Poor language support, shoddy visuals and sound at times, and even goofy enemy AI really bring the experience down too much for a decent gameplay premise. To the developer, if you see this video, I wish you the best, and I hope that you really compound down on these really high points of this game, because there are really interesting ideas here. I think you need to follow up with them and just refine this experience. And if this game's done anything, it's teased me into the idea that there is a anthology or, series that you're developing here, and I plan on checking out your other game too. So I do hope to see this series continue, and I hope to see you evolve as a developer. That being said, thank you everyone else so much for watching this video. I hope it was informative, and that's really about it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.